Hello, I'm Captain Scouse, and today we are going to be talking about Funko Pops. And I'm going to give you a few hints and tips on how to buy and sell them. So here we go. So my first hint and tip for this video is to keep a list of your Funko Pops. Now, I used to originally use a spreadsheet for this years ago when I first started collecting them. But these days you have Funko Pop apps that you can use. Beware, currently there is an issue with the Funko Pop app. And if you're using that, there are current issues with that currently. But back in the days, probably up to about a month ago, you'd constantly use the Funko Pop app to keep an eye out on your Funko Pops to keep a list on it all. Now the current issue is that your list disappears like that as soon as you uploaded it, and it is basically a broken app at the moment. So I've decided to start using other apps. Now there's two other apps out there you can use. There's one for those in the UK called the Pop Directory, and this actually lists all the Funko Pops that you've got in the UK. So it's based on the UK market per se. So it goes off shops in the UK that sell them, like Forbidden Planets and different things like that. You've got different toy stores that sell them. One thing it doesn't do and lists as a valuation is stuff that sells on eBay, but it will list things you can buy off eBay, but it doesn't add them to it. So that's one thing I have found about it. Another one is HobbyDB for everyone elsewhere. I've heard personally, I've not checked it out personally, but I've heard it is a good app, which is better than the Funko Pop app currently. So if you have an issue with the Funko Pop app and you want to keep a list of all your Funkos, try one of them too. With that, one is probably based on the UK market, the rest is the other one. So the UK market, you'll find the prices vary of it all. Especially to older versions of the Funko Pop app, you used to be able to find what they are around the world, or used to be based on the American market. But the UK Pop Directory, based on UK prices alone, it doesn't go via the American prices, which are hyperinflated. It's probably the best way to describe them. Um, so, like I said, they're based them on UK stores alone. HobbyDB will base them probably on the US market, hence why they're going to be a lot more better valued to what you're used to. So that is my first tip. Now for a second tip is to watch where you buy, whether it's online or in a small market stall or comic book shop. Funko Pop prices will vary. And where you buy them from is important. If buying online, beware that places like eBay will hyperinflate the prices on what you buy, and smaller retailers, i.e. market stores, will jump onto that and their prices will reflect that. From my experience from working in a small comic book store and a small retail store, I know I don't set the prices to them, but I know what the retail looks at when selling Funko Pops. You'll find them in different conditions. And this leads me on to my third point and third tip. Now for my third tip, you've got to beware that retailers will sell Funko Pops in different conditions. Where I work, we get a lot of people coming in with either loose Funko Pops that are not in boxes or where the boxes are damaged or dented. We tend to buy cheap but sell at high price. Normally, a greedy retail will not care about a box but the condition of the Funko Pop inside. And that will put them to say, let's put a top price on that Funko Pop. So they'll research it on eBay, find what the price they can get. They might knock it down one or two pound or euros or dollars, and then sell it like that. For a buyer, that's very off-putting. Even more so in the Funko Pop you're looking at is you're after like a faulted Funko Pop or whatever, and you spot it there, but it's in a damaged box and that, and they're basing it on a high price and that. It's like, no, I don't want to buy that. You say to yourself. For those that don't know what vaulted is or what it means that a Funko Pop is not made anymore. And the Funko Pop company themselves have either stopped making it or they've thrown them out, the entire stock of them, into a skip, which is the current thing that's been going on. So when trying to buy the Funko Pop you see at these places, smaller retails will always ask whether you need to ask at these smaller retails whether or not you can get a discount due to a damaged box, etc., to what you can find. Normally we're like that. We say, okay, it's a damaged box, let's knock a few quid off it or whatever. And that's what we do. But a lot of the time, people look at the box and go, "No, I don't really want that." It depends what you use it. Some people take the Funko Pops out the boxes. Some people keep them in the boxes. It depends on the collector who's buying it, and that's the main thing you think of when you're selling and buying Funko Pops is a collector. So whether or not you'd buy the same thing as someone else. Um, the bigger stores that you can buy from, they'll always consider discounting a Funko Pop if it's damaged. I've seen that previously, and where they've reduced the price of the Funko Pop because it's got a damaged box or a damaged dent, or the actual bottom of it is peeled slightly, or the top of it slightly peeled. They'll reduce it like that. However, if it's vaulted, a Funko Pop that you are after, you're best off betting getting it on eBay. The reason why is a lot of collectors save the Funko Pops until it's vaulted and then they try and sell it at the highest price on eBay. Doesn't always work, but that's how they do it, to be honest. And it varies on the condition. Now, collectors like to keep the Funko Pops sort of in nice order. The boxes, the whole that lot, they keep them in storage. You don't touch them. They keep them dust free or whatever. And they'll just say, well, let me just sell that like that. It's easier for them to sell when it's vaulted at a higher price. So if it doesn't matter to whether or not the condition of a Funko Pop that you're after, then of course you can go for a smaller retail and buy it there. But if you're worried about the box and things like that, then you need to sort of think about, okay, maybe I have to buy it off eBay because I care about the condition of the box as well as the Funko. And at least when you're getting off eBay, you know the thing is there's several checks you have to do with eBay if you're going to buy them for the conditions and that. So always check the seller's reviews. Keep an eye on all that lot if you're buying off them. Um, Make sure there's no photographs of any damage on it. Sometimes they'll photograph any damage that's on it. As long as you're happy with that, then you'll get it at a reasonable price. If not, ask them a question like you would do with a retail in there. If not, look elsewhere and see what you can find that way. It all depends on what you consider as an important Funko Pop for you to get with that. But yeah, be wary that when you're buying from small retailers, market stores, the condition of the boxes will be slightly damaged with that. Now we move on to a fourth tip, and that's how to keep your Funko Pops safe and damage free after buying them. Now, I've only got what we consider as a small collection. I've only got like a 30 Funko Pop collection, but I always try and keep them safe and damage free as best as I can. I would say that, and I'd recommend that with everyone with large collections as well. I know people who've got 200, 300 collections, and they always worry about how to keep them safe and damage free. And there's only one way you can do that. And no, it's not bubble wrapping them all the time. It's putting them into a Funko Pop protector, which is what these are here. They are great. Every Funko Pop I have, apart from probably one or two, I always try and keep them safe as I can. Now, I found them very useful. And people who don't know what these are little plastic boxes. It might not look like a plastic box, but when you open them up, like so, they turn into a plastic box, and then they turn into one of these in which you actually slide it in. They do have a protective film over them. You can keep them on them, or you can just peel them off, and it just makes them a bit more stabler. It means that the box itself, the actual cardboard box, doesn't get damaged with its water, moisture, dust, anything like that. It's perfect for that. If you ever dropped them and you're worried about damaging the Funko Pop or the damaging like the corner of the boxes, these actually stop it. And the only thing you're going to get maximum is scratch on the box. And these are very easy to replace and buy online. And with all pop protectors, they come in different sizes. And like I said, if you're lacking storage as well, and you're worried about them getting damp, and you sort of think, I've got to put them into this little cupboard here, but I'm worried about them getting damp because it's near like an air vent or whatever. This is perfect. This is perfect, sort of thing for this. With that, as I say, they come in different things. You can get UV ones. You can get glow in the dark ones with glow in the dark edges. You can get some with blood splatter on them, which are brilliant for you. Got your horror Funko Pops going on. And like I said, they do come in different sizes. Now behind me, I have them all different sizes. There, I've got 10-inch ones, 6-inch ones. Got movie prop ones, and we also have, and you can also get them in keyring forms, little tiny ones, and show you the size of them. That's the size. This is a 4-inch one. This is the keyring one. So you can get them in all different sizes online. I use All Things Vinyl. I'll put a link down below for people who are interested in that. And like I said, I do 10-inch ones as well. But I do recommend, if you want to keep your Funko Pops safe and you want to keep the value of your Funko Pops up as best as you can, because a lot of the Funko Pops, and this is something that people don't realize and notice, a lot of the Funko Pops that get sold, and I'd say about 90% of them, don't have and don't come with Funko Pop protectors. So the values always fluctuate. If you want a higher price for your Funko Pops, and as a collector, I would expect, if I'm buying the highest price, I want them in a Funko Pop protector, so I don't have to sort of spend money on a new one. However, you think about it in 10, 20 years time when these become very valuable. People have had them for years. Even some people collect toys and come with toys that are 50 years old. These end up 50 years old and you want to keep them in mint condition. It's like with comics. You always put them in bagged and boards. With Funko Pops, these are the same thing. It's giving them a pop protector. So I always recommend people, when they buy a Funko Pop, get a pop protector for it if you want to make as much money as you can off it years down the line for your collection rather than just straight away. Because the actual market fluctuates is something you need to be aware of. At the moment, it's on a lull down. It will get higher and higher when new Funko Pops gets produced, I should say. And when new versions of that Funko Pop come out, the original ones that are first released but the values of them shoot up. So be wary of the Funko Pop market when it comes to that. And like I said, the pop protectors themselves will actually add to that. Now we move on to selling your Funkos. And this is something that, like I said, it's a fluctuating market when you're selling your Funkos regarding that. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a quick sale, then yeah, you can take them all into one shop, see what you can get from them, and then that's it. That's what you can do. I've seen people do that. People do that to us a lot. But there are several places you can sell them. And the two places is retail-wise, in person, and online. Of course, you can sell them online via eBay, and that's probably the best place for you to sell them if you want top market price. As long as you do your research on other Funko Pops that have sold with the same genre and the same Funko Pop, and you price it reasonably to what you're after, then it shouldn't be a problem. As long as you get your money in advance as well, because I know people have issues with that. I said you get your money in advance via eBay or whatever, and you post it along. Sellers will also sell them with a Funko Pop protector as well, or add a bonus on it, because it'll mean in the buyer's mind that they can be reassured that the Funko Pop will arrive damage free. And if there is any damage, you can say that it's come down to the postal service if that's what you like. But if you want to prevent that, add a bit of bubble wrap to it and invest into a bigger box for the packaging, send it. And that should satisfy the seller and the buyer, to be honest. So looking at it that way, I think that's probably what you do online. If you can't sell online, there are other places, whether or not that would be small comic book collecting shops, which will buy them and know the details regarding that because they'll do the research straight away. Or other retail shops that don't know anything about Funko Pops apart from what they think they can make money from them. And that's by going off eBay prices. So it's a double-edged sword to where you sell them. Regarding that, eBay is used a lot, as well as the Funko Pop apps. Like I said, Funko Pop apps are the ones that people tend to want to buy for. and that. If you're selling, that's what they go off, and then they'll reduce it by a certain amount. But if you go in there and argue with them, well, look, I know how much it's worth because I've seen it on eBay, and also don't just say you've seen it on eBay because that'll tell them that you're being a bit greedy regarding your price. But if you say it on the Funko Pop app as well, and things like that, they'll know for a fact you've done your research. As soon as the buyer knows you've done your research, if you're selling them in person, the the buyer themselves, if it's in a proper store, will actually do their research and will try and meet midway regarding your price that you're after. Now, we do have stalls here and shops here in the UK called cash generators who tend to not do that if they're selling Funko Pops. They tend to just say, well, we'll give you this price because this is what we want to get it for, blah, blah, blah. And they buy it cheaply off you and then sell it double the price of what they bought it from you. And that's how they do it. With other retails, it's a bit different, but that's how it works in the in-person shopping experience regarding that. You could have a friend who wants to buy one off you, and you could negotiate that way if you know another collector. Keeping an eye on collectors that you know personally is probably your best bet. And you can just go off the Funko Pop price list and say, yeah, I'll negotiate for that price. And that's another way you can do it in person if you can't do it online. Now, if you're unsure, we tend to have a lot of people who buy Funko Pops cheaply. This is another thing I've noticed, especially with where I work. We tend to get a lot of people who come in who buy Funko Pops on the cheap from supermarkets locally and other places and other shops and that, and they try to sell them in a way of getting a little profit. And we know that. We know this is what's happening because we look into them shops anyway. We spot how much they're for, but they do it to try and get like a £5 profit or something like that off it all. Because they think, oh, I know how much that's worth because I scanned it in and then I thought, oh, I'll take it into it. Or they buy something cheap thinking, oh, I can get that from that shop and try and scam them out of £10 or something out of it when I bought it for a fiver. And that's what they tend to do for us. We know that. So we say, it's not worth so and so, it's worth £3 or £4, we say to them. So they get less than the market value they bought it for. And that is something that some of them do. And we're aware of it. So if you're trying to do that locally, it's not going to work. One way you could do it, and if you're new to eBay and selling Funko Pops, you could do that, but sell them on eBay as a way of doing that. And to try and learn the selling technique of Funko Pops, if that's what you're after. So you don't have to sell your own collection at first, but you can learn to sell stuff you buy cheaply from local shops that you see for £5 to £6, and then you buy them and then you sell them on eBay for maybe double the amount or whatever, and work out packaging costs and things like that, and see whether that's worth you doing it. That's one way for you to do it, rather than going locally. And as someone who buys and sells it as a collector and works in a comic book shop himself, that's your best way of doing selling. So if you, like I said, if you're stuck on and you feel nervous about selling stuff on eBay, that is your best way of doing it rather than going through local shops and haggling. And I always recommend haggling if you're after buying Funko Pops for a good price, especially from a local store. Online, you can't really do it. That's the only thing. But regarding it, you have to have an open mind on the Funko Pop market because it'll go up and down throughout the year. Especially during certain times of films coming out, TV shows coming out, and things like that, or Comic Cons coming up. And yeah, be wary as well. If you're going to buy and sell stuff, or not even just buy stuff from Comic Cons, they will be double the price of eBay to what they sell. Some of these traders I spoke to at Comic Cons tend, and it's very rare of them, tend to sell Funko Pops at the same price they do online, and especially on eBay and things like that. However, others will double them, and it's a bit of a, especially in the UK, a bit of a scam market buying Funko Pops currently. Before, I think about years ago, about 5-10 years ago, when the Comic Cons were still starting out, it was completely different. Funko Pops could be sold like £10, £12 each or whatever, and you get a good deal because they would actually have Forbidden Planet stores there, and they would sell it at the market price that it would do online. Hence, what some people have said to me on eBay, like, that's what they sell it off when they're selling it like that. But more independent ones don't. And that's where you got to be wary of. Keep a list of prices. You want to keep a list of your Funko Pops. You want to keep a list of everything you've done research wise and think carefully. If you're unsure, then try and sell your Funko Pops that you don't want on eBay, or go out, buy a few cheaply and sell them that way and learn about the market. That's my best tip regarding that. And that's it. If you enjoyed this little hints and tips video, then do feel free to hit that subscribe button and join me later on, where we'll be doing some more hints and tips on buying and selling comics. But until then, see you later, alligator.